and the Greater Dayton Area League of Women Voters presents Meet the Candidates, your chance to learn about the candidates running for office in the November election.
Hello, I'm Ellen McCloskey, a member of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Dayton Area. I'm here today with the candidates running for the office of the 41st State House. There are two candidates running for one open seat. Those candidates are Jim Butler and Wayne E. Small. We regret that Mr. Small, a candidate for this position, couldn't be here due to a prior commitment. Now, the 41st House covers the eastern Montgomery County area. We'll start our interview by having Representative Butler tell us why he would like to be reelected and serve in the Ohio State House.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Just a little bit about me and my background. I grew up in Washington Courthouse. I was born in Cincinnati. I went to the U.S. Naval Academy. After the Naval Academy, I flew the F-14 Tomcat for a short while, and then I ended up going to law school at the University of Cincinnati and work at Thompson Hine, a law firm in Ohio here, and have since 2005. In 2011, I was appointed to fill the unexpired term of now Senator Peggy Lehner when she was appointed to the Senate. I was fortunate to be elected to my first ever election in 2012. And have served ever since, so a little under 4 years now. I'm the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. I'm also on the Insurance Committee and the Public Utilities Committee. So serving is definitely a great honor, and I look forward to serving the people of the 41st House District.
Okay, and we'll start our questions. There is an important debate going on about the environment and climate change. What is your opinion on global warming, and what is your position on fracking and its impact on the environment and other renewable energy sources like wind and solar?
Well, I think that for energy, we need to really have an all-of-the-above approach to energy. We should really focus on having the least expensive and hopefully the cleanest with increasing technology and most reliable energy in our state. And we're blessed, I think, to have great resources that were recently discovered that have been made available by horizontal drilling or hydraulic fracturing, and that has really been a boon economically to our state. But at the same time, we have to make sure that we're protecting the environment. Protecting the environment is very important. Pollution obviously harms our people and it's bad for our health. So we actually enacted in the last General Assembly the most stringent standards for hydraulic fracturing. And to make sure that they're safe, there's not going to be any leaks, that type of thing, and that there's ongoing inspections at regular intervals. So having the most stringent standards in the country for that is important, but at the same time, it's a great boon to our economy. It creates a lot of jobs, and just indirectly, having a secure source of energy that's the least price, the lowest cost, is very important to our economy. It's important to families. It's important to business too, so that they can be competitive.
And thank you. And our second question: what is your opinion on minimum wage? How do you think the minimum wage affects the standard of living?
Well, I think the minimum wage can have a indirectly bad effect, actually. And not to say that it's good to have a minimum wage, but if you have too great of a minimum wage, so say we raise the minimum wage to $20 an hour, for example, then for all the jobs in Ohio that are out there, it'll start at 20 and then go up. And so for those, especially for those industries that are really important to our state, like manufacturing, research and development, having headquarters here, those industries that bring in that original money into our state. And so most every other business is dependent on that or agricultural and natural resources. That's what brings money into our state. So we're competing for manufacturing, for research and development, for headquarters. Those are the businesses that can locate anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world. So it's important for us to make sure that we're as competitive as we possibly can be for those, because when they come in, that creates the prosperity, that drives up wages. The more people, or actually the more jobs that are in a state, the more people will come in. So then there'll be greater demand for jobs. That increase, supply and demand. That increased demand is what drives up wages and is sustainable in the long term. If we raise the minimum wage too much, then businesses will simply go somewhere else, and then a lot fewer people will have jobs. So it's having a minimum wage is okay to make sure that it's not too low, but if we go too far, then I think it can be counterproductive and cause a lot of unemployment because of our lack of competitiveness.
Thank you. And our third question, education is in a crisis in the state and the nation. Some say that children entering school are not ready to learn. Where do you stand with respect to a preschool promise so that children are prepared to learn, thrive, and ultimately contribute to this community?
Well, I strongly believe in pre-K for anybody who wants it. It's really important to have, for parents to have the option to have their child go to preschool, to go to all-day kindergarten, and be prepared to learn. That's really important. Children start to learn obviously at a very young age, as any parent knows. And that, again, back to being competitive as a state, that helps us to be competitive because it helps in our workforce, because the children that are attending preschool and then kindergarten and have that opportunity are going to end up being our workforce in the future. And having the best workforce is one of the things that businesses look at when they're deciding where to locate their, if they could go all over the country or anywhere in the world. Having the best workforce is really important, and pre-K and all-day kindergarten are really important aspects of that. So I'm a big supporter.
Thank you. And then our last question. If elected, what will be your #1 priority?
Well, as you can probably tell, the #1 priority for me is to raise our standard of living, to raise the standard of living of all Ohioans. And I think we've made some progress over the last 4 years. We were in a decline. I think we pulled out of that decline, and some good things are starting to happen, but there's a lot more that we can do. And one of the things that's important to raising the standard of living and having all hardworking Ohioans, receive the benefit of their work and having better lives is to make us the most competitive state in the country. That's the most important thing, I think, that raises our prosperity, that brings lots of jobs into our state. And again, when you have lots of jobs and lots of jobs that are created, then you're going to have people coming into our state. That helps all businesses that are out there, and it raises wages. And with increasing wages, with increasing demand for workers, that raises wages and that increases our prosperity. So the most important thing is to be competitive as a state, and that has a lot of different aspects to it. I mentioned workforce before, but our tax structure, healthcare costs need to be addressed because they're unsustainable and out of control. Your workers' compensation, your unemployment, energy, as I mentioned, fuel costs. There's a lot of different things that go into being the most competitive state. I mean, education is really important as well. So we need to focus on all of those things and really look at looking at the actual data is important as well to make sure that we are indeed the most competitive state. When you look at all those different aspects, that when businesses are looking to locate anywhere in the country, again, say a manufacturing plant from Boeing, for example, or from any big company, they're going to look and go where they make the most money, that's just what they do, they're businesses. So all of those different aspects are important in making us the most competitive and bringing that prosperity to our state.
Thank you. And would you like to give us a closing statement?
Absolutely. Again, thank you very much for having me. I do think that our state has made some progress, but there's so many different things that we can do to continue us on that right direction and make us the most prosperous state in the country. A lot of people are still out there. They're struggling. Maybe they found jobs, but they're part-time jobs. We really need to bring in the businesses into the state that are creating a lot of jobs to increase that demand for jobs, so that Ohioans that are out there looking for jobs have a lot of different choices. And when that happens, when they're in demand, then they're going to have increased wages. They're going to see either their hourly wage or their salaries increase. They're going to have more money at the end of the day. That's the other thing that's really important as well. So maintaining we already have in Ohio a very good cost of living, so that really helps us. But at the end of the day, we want to have Ohio families have as much money in their pockets as possible so that they can have better lives. So I'm looking forward to being able to do that the next 2 years.
And thank you. And thank you for your participation today. And good luck in your campaign. The League of Women Voters encourages all candidates to run an issues-oriented campaign. Our goal is to educate the voting public and strengthen our elective political process. You have just heard the views of a candidate running for the office of 41st State House. We encourage everyone to vote. The League Guide will be available in all libraries and on your doorstep the week of October 13th. There are many different ways to vote in this election. If you received an absentee ballot application form from the Secretary of State and are planning to vote absentee, which means vote from your home, here are some tips. Fill in your absentee ballot application carefully and send in your application. If you are planning to vote by mail, be sure to fill in your absentee ballot correctly and do not make check marks or X's in your ballot. Fill in the oval in blue or black ink. Put postage on your ballot and mail it as soon as possible. Do not wait until the last minute. You can also vote early at your Board of Elections beginning on September 30th. Polls open at 6:30 on Election Day, Tuesday, November 4th. Be sure to vote, to voice your opinion, and make our democracy work.